Hey guys, have you seen the new Guy Ritchie series on Netflix yet? It's pretty good. It's called The Gentleman.
Yes, I binged it. There's this great scene in the first episode where Giancarlo Esposito's mysterious billionaire character, Stanley Johnston, with a T, as they say, talks about wine. And I was going to ask you, Catherine, what is he sipping on?
Oh, yes. I replayed that scene about 5 times. I loved it so much. He is talking about double decanting, which is, I think, very cool. And you can see Mr. Johnston with a T, his assistant is in the background, double decanting a bottle of DRC, or, of course, Domaine de la Romane Conti. But I couldn't see which bottling it was. But, maybe we can play a clip.
I hope you don't disapprove in the way I prefer my wine presented. In breaking with tradition, I like to decant and clean the liquid, clear the bottle of any sediment, then return the wine so it can be enjoyed in its original housing.
Oh, hey, that reminds me. Did you guys look at the link that I sent you this week for the sexy wine club that looks kind of like the place that Mr. Johnston, the mysterious billionaire, would hang out? It's called Domus Artium Reserve.
Yeah, the video on the website starts off like eyes wide shut too. That's all I'm saying. No, but you see like Italian palaces, movie stars like Nicole Kidman and Harrison Ford, who's awesome. I'm not sure if they're affiliated, but they were there hanging out.
Yeah, well, no way are we going to find out because according to this, Domus Artium is a private club by invitation only.
Yes. Looks like members will have access to palatial clubhouses across Europe, starting with Palazzo Ruspoli in Rome. And let's see, members at the highest tier, looks like that's the Diamante level, will be able to blend their own wines with master winemakers Michel Roland and Riccardo Cottorella.
Ooh la la.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's got some celebrity chefs attached, like Thomas Keller and Yannick Eleno and Carlo Cracco, and wine critic Antonio Galloni.
Okay. So, yeah, no conflict of interest at all whatsoever for wine critic Antonio Galloni, who is now winemaker Michel Roland's business partner. No comment.
And I would just like to point out that the name and logo for Domus Artium are like totally fake Roman Empire. Well, to be fair, they're more like Las Vegas interpretations of ancient Rome, which reminds me of episode 143 when we discussed the fact that every man is secretly thinking about the Roman Empire. And my
Mm-hmm.
Roman Empire is now, well, it's this train wreck of a website.
Oh my goodness. I'm looking at this website now and my creative agency alarm bells are going off. Text running the full width of pages.
Oh.
I'm seeing some full-on ADA accessibility violations too. Yikes. I find this so confusing when people try to launch an ultra luxe brand concept and then they roll out a bargain basement website. Anyway, and yeah. Oh my gosh, the logo, you guys. The lyre, it's like that ancient harp-like instrument. It looks exactly like the lyre from the Asterix comic books.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. Design snob solidarity. We can virtually high five.
High five.
As you guys were high fiving, I tapped into the spirit of Stanley Johnston, elusive billionaire on The Gentleman, and he has let it be known that he will not be joining Domus Artium, this faux Roman Empire, ancient Rome celebrity fixated clown fest, because he is too cool for that.
That's right. For Stanley Johnston with a T, it is double decanted DRC in his private palace or nothing, because that man has taste. Although, quick aside, Michel Roland and Riccardo Cottorella, if you need someone to taste through blends with you, I would be fascinated to do that. I'm there for that. A winemaker takes back his brand from a big ol' private equity firm. A surprising amount of American wine is not actually American. Organic wine importers are completely freaking out, and we don't blame them. And Washington State is throwing British Columbia a lifeline. All this, and we revisit the great sheep controversy of 2024 in episode 146 of the Four Top, your favorite wine news podcast. I'm your host, Catherine Cole, and I am here joined by Nick Toole and Ruby Welkovich. Well, guys, there was one big wine news story this week, and we could not escape it. It was in Wine Business, it was in Wine Spectator, it was in the Chronicle, it was everywhere we looked. And that news was that founding winemaker James Hall just bought his winery, Patson Hall, back from Saint Michel Wine Estates.
This is a big deal, right? Saint Michel is Washington's largest winery and one of the biggest wine companies in the US.
Yeah, James Hall and Donald Patz founded their Sonoma winery back in 1988, and they sold to Saint Michel Wine Estates, or SMWE, in 2016. But now, with the help of a few investors, Hall has bought his brand back. Oh, this poor guy, he's 65. He's supposed to be relaxing now.
Some people just can't stop. SMWE has had a tumultuous few years. Its parent company, Altria, sold it just after the pandemic, and it appears to have been struggling, unfortunately, ever since. We've been hearing word from our listeners in the viticulture world that SMWE, or SMWE, has been, they don't call it that, has been slashing fruit contracts, and the new owners, the New York private equity firm Sycamore Partners, have been trimming the SMWE portfolio of wine brands down as well. They say they are just going to focus on what SMWE knows best, the Pacific Northwest, and I definitely rhymed that on purpose.
Well, this is all just so interesting. We've seen so many small wine brands bought up by these holding companies and these private equity firms in recent years, but it seems like it can be a problem if the people running those businesses don't have wine specific expertise. Wine is just so unique. It just doesn't follow the usual rules of production or sales.
Yeah, craft beverages in general they just not like other products. This reminds me actually of Shipyard Brewing. They sold a 50% stake to Miller, now Miller Coors, for those folks who are married to the facts. And then a few years later, they bought that stake back from Miller Coors. And for those real beer nerds out there and my Allagash coworkers who may be listening, this was almost exactly the same period of time that Miller owned Celis and drove it right into the ground. So big companies, even when they are in the beverage business, often just don't get the subtleties of selling these niche wines and beers.
Mm.
Okay, while you guys have been talking, I have been checking out the Sycamore Partners website, and I totally see what you're saying. These guys are big business people. They own huge companies like Staples, Hot Topic, and Lane Bryant. And oh, they also own Chico's and Ann Taylor, which is everyone's aunt's favorite brand.
Yeah, not a lot of crossover between those brands and a boutique winery.
No. So you're just not thinking big enough. Picture this, a collab, wine pants. Dark
Uh-huh.
red pants. You can spill as much wine on as you want, and they feature a state-of-the-art waterproof lining so you don't get wet. TM, TM, TM. I'm copywriting this. TM.
I feel like they should
TM.
also have giant pockets to fit wine bottles in. That would be great.
Yes. TM, TM, TM.
So can you buy them at Hot Topic or Chico's?
Yes.
Oh,
The answer is
yes.
yes. Hey, Nick, any news from our angry vignerons of the world desk this week?
Oh, let me see. Okay. I'm not seeing anything under new bombs in government offices. Nothing under smash bottles in town squares. Looks like there's one incident under indignant farmers stopping traffic on tractors, but it looks like it was just due to a lack of fuel. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. For listeners who are just getting up to speed on this, on the Foretop, we regularly return to this theme of angry growers. Vine tenders have been up in arms all over the world because they are losing money on their crops. The center of the action, that action we referred to, the bombs, the smash bottles, all that, is usually in southern France, where resentment against Spanish growers and their cheap bulk wine has reached multiple boiling points.
But this week, it's been pretty quiet.
Oh, wait, guys, the action might be moving closer to home. Check this out. It's a media release from Lodi Growers announcing that imported foreign bulk wine is the, quote, dirty secret no one in California is talking about.
Ooh, we are
Oh.
here for the dirty secrets on the foretop. Dish that dirt, Ruby.
Yeah, according to Stuart Spencer of the Lodi Grape Commission and something called the Gomberg Fredrickson Report.
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna dox myself. That's my alter ego. I am I am Gomberg Fredrickson.
Okay, well, according to your alter ego, Nick, nearly 68 million gallons of foreign bulk wine was imported by California wineries in 2022. That represents 400,000 tons of grapes.
Woo! And interestingly enough, as Spencer points out, some 400,000 tons of grapes were left on the vine in U.S. vineyards last harvest, and growers have been ordered to rip out thousands of vineyard acres to balance supply with demand. So the math is not mathing.
Hmm.
Well, guys, this is just one more reason to support your friendly small wine grower who can tell you exactly where they farmed their vines. And of course, educate family and friends about what they are buying when they buy that cheap wine in the supermarket. Now, this can be confusing to consumers because a wine that's labeled as, quote, American can actually include up to 25% foreign, that's non US wine in the blend, and still be in compliance with TTB regulations.
And speaking of government regulations, I think we should introduce a new segment on the Foretop: Government Ineptitude. Our third story comes to us from Hannah Staub of VinePair, and surprise, surprise, it's all about how the USDA is failing to roll out new rules around organic foodstuffs in a coherent manner.
As if the wine industry needed even more things to worry about, the USDA is apparently requiring those who import organic foods to have their facilities certified as organic.
Yeah, that was a very strong apparently. And Ruby, we all know how you feel about the little boy who says
I love
apparently.
the apparently kid.
Anyway, in order to combat organic food fraud, the USDA approved new directives, which you can, if you are so interested, you can find if you just Google USDA and quote, strengthening organic enforcement. Really exciting stuff. The impetus behind this was a good one. It was to improve traceability and protect the organic supply chain. And this would all be great if the USDA had provided clearer guidance.
If. But the USDA didn't really do that. They put up some web pages, published an 80-page document, and said, go at it. For small wine producers and importers, these new rules are now causing a lot of confusion and fear. Not only must each importer now be certified organic, but now each organic item imported must be accompanied by an NOP electronic organic import certificate as well.
Also, organic certification is just an arduous and costly process. Like, certification can come down to pest management practices in an importer's warehouse. And then, even after your initial inspection, apparently you can be subject to random inspections, which adds another level of uncertainty and disruption. So, wineries abroad do all that paperwork to get certified. The exporter gets all of the organic paperwork in order, then sends their wine to an importer in the US, and after all that, it's possible that the USDA will yank the wine's organic credentials if the importer's paperwork isn't in order. We're not talking about the producers here, we're talking about the folks who just take it off the boat and sell it.
Ugh. Guys, I'm reading from the original Talmudic text here, the USDA document, and it looks like, quote, not just importers, but brokers, traders, and importers of organic products must all be certified as organic. And I don't even know who they would count as brokers and traders. And according to this piece in VinePair that we're looking at, even Jenny and Francois Selections, the poster child of organic wine importing in New York, is still awaiting its organic certification. And the deadline for compliance was March 19th. If they don't have their papers in order yet, I just doubt anyone else does either. I'm worried that we may see importers simply just covering up organic labeling because of all this red tape.
Yeah, and to put icing on this cake, when Hannah Staub of VinePair reached out to the USDA looking for more information, what she got back was outdated info from June 2012. You know, 12 years before this rule went into effect.
Oh.
Jeez.
For our final story of the week, we have to jump in our time machine and travel back to episode 141 when we discussed when we discussed the devastating crop loss in British Columbia due to frigid temperatures. At that time, we reported that BC was looking at a loss of up to 99%, which is essentially 100%.
I'm actually studying data analytics in grad school right now, and I can confirm that that 1% is essentially negligible.
Yeah, and according to Sean Sullivan's Northwest Wine Report, it looks like Washington State Wine is stepping up to fill the gap. The trade association, Washington Wine Growers, issued legal and logistical guidance last week on exporting grapes from Washington to British Columbia.
Yeah, there's some synergy here because Washington State has an excess of grapevines right now. As we mentioned a few minutes ago, Washington-based Saint Michel Wine Estates has been drastically cutting the amount of fruit it buys. According to the San Francisco Chronicle, SMWE recently announced a 40% reduction in fruit purchases over the next 5 years. So now you've got BC with no grapes and its neighbor flush with grapes. It's a perfect match.
But there's always a catch.
Always a catch.
It's funny how all of our stories are tying together this week, guys. So, while the US TTB is maybe pretty lax in allowing up to 25% of foreign fruit in a quote, American wine, as we just mentioned, my recollection is that Canadian and British Columbia regulations are pretty strict. And according to Sullivan, BC growers are asking for a special dispensation just to get them through the next year, just to get those wineries some juice that they can bottle.
Well, that sounds like a win-win.
Or a win wine? Or a wine win?
Wah,
Guys?
wah. Hey, so thanks to all of you listeners who follow the Four Top on social media and comment on our question of the week each week. And, we have an extremely cute, fuzzy little question of the week to discuss this week, don't we, Ruby?
Yes, we ran an adorable photo of a sheep in a vineyard and asked the question, are green noshing sheep really just green washing sheep? This was in response to a San Francisco Chronicle article in which some vineyard owners were complaining that wineries just truck in herds of sheep to make their vineyards look ecologically friendly and extremely cute, but don't actually do the work to farm sustainably.
We actually got so many comments and a few DMs calling on us to devote an entire podcast episode to this. So I did not expect this to garner so much controversy.
Well, let's read through some of the best comments here. Thanks to Antiquum Farmer for throwing it down with this comment, quote, I have grown nauseous over the sheer number of wineries now claiming to have profoundly affected the character and quality in their wines and vines after having animals present a matter of days and only during the dormant season. Yes, speak your truth, Antiquum Farm.
I know, I loved all these spicy comments. Like Mason Hearts in Jars says, I'm not questioning intention, but I see major red flags in execution. In all the ways you can bring health and resilience to your system, animals are the last piece, in my opinion.
Well, to counter that, I found this comment interesting from Perennial Grazing. And by the way, perennial grazing is an easy way to describe me. They are saying that rising labor and material costs for wineries are making sheep a more fiscally attractive option for vineyard owners. So it sounds pretty cool. The cuter, more sustainable path is, according to this listener, also the more affordable path.
Keep your sheep comments coming, folks, and check out our social media feeds because we post a new question of the week every week. I'm seeing some fun votes coming in for last week's question about which winemaker you would nominate for public office. We'll unveil those results next week.
And what questions shall we post from this week's episode, guys? We have so many to choose from. For example, do you care if your wine importer's warehouse is certified organic?
Or maybe who wins when small winemakers buy back their brands from big holding companies?
Oh, yeah, or who should be allowed to import grapes from other countries, British Columbia or California?
Yeah, well, okay, we're still workshopping those, but we'll throw something interesting up on social media, and we look forward to seeing your responses.
Ooh, before we move on, actually, I need to do some consumer research. Email me if you're interested in wine pants, TM.
Well, it is time for our dessert course, and Nick, I know your sweet tooth is lacking. We haven't heard from you in a while, so tell us what you have been savoring.
All right, so last week I was looking for a bottle of bubbly on a budget for a housewarming party. So I visited my local wine store, Maine and Loire, which is wonderful people there. And they suggested...
Wait, hold on. Is that in Portland, Maine?
That is in Portland, Maine.
Okay.
And they suggested a bottle I absolutely loved.
So what was it?
Sorry, I'm going to gatekeep this one. I'm not going to tell you. Isn't it enough just to know that I enjoyed some great wine?
Oh, Nick, we know you're a beer person, but don't be difficult.
Okay, I'm gonna share, and I'm gonna flood my way through some French pronunciation. It's called L'Angelou, and it's a dry, sparkling pet nat from Gaillac in southern France, made by Jérôme Galaloup of La Ferme du Verre. It's entirely Mouzac Blanc grapes and wild yeast, which I'm a sucker for, and it's disgorged, so you aren't swimming in sediment. It was sort of like creamy, like lightly buttery, but not like diacetyl too buttery. And it was kind of a little fruity, some pear and apple in there. And I was drinking it on its own, but I feel like this one's got a plethora of pairing options. So $31 from Maine and Loire. I think I'll be purchasing this one again.
That sounds great, and I'm really impressed by all of your pronunciation.
I'm just really happy you're drinking sparkling wine. Bravo for that. And Ruby, you're probably happy that he's drinking a natural wine.
You know it.
Well, this has been the Four Top Podcast. I am our executive producer, Catherine Cole.
I am our producer, Nick Toole.
And I'm media and design manager, Ruby Welkovich.
Keelan King is our sound supervisor and the composer and performer of our wonderful theme music. And please visit our website, thefourtop.org, to learn more about us, listen to back episodes, and learn how to sponsor our work.
If you have not already subscribed to The Four Top on iTunes or Spotify, please do so, and please leave us a rating.
And we have an insider tip for you, Spotify users. If you go to the Four Tops landing page on Spotify and click the bell icon, you'll get a notification every time we drop a new episode, and then you don't have to miss one.
Yeah. Well, from the Willamette Valley, where the phrase, quote, imported foreign bulk wine is considered a swear word, a swear phrase, this is Catherine signing off.
From the Gaiac of New England, Falmouth, Maine. That doesn't even make sense geographically, but I'm living with it. This is Nick signing off.
And from Brooklyn, New York, where I'm wearing trendy Nick's wine pants, this is Ruby signing off. Stay safe out there, and thanks for listening.